So it's been a little while since I've done an updated video on Chordimist, and I had a person ask me how to use it. Um, Chordimist is interesting plugin. It's a lot of fun to use, but it definitely is different from that of which is like a scaler, and it only works in Ableton. So and you need to have Max for Live, so you need the suite version pretty much to get it. All right, so let's talk about what you need to do to maybe start building chords. So the first thing is you can do this, use the random dice over here and press it, and it will randomly pick you a chord note. But then you also have dice down here to randomize things too. So you could use this. Let me make sure, hold on a second. Okay. So as I'm pressing my piano, you'll notice that this box is moving. As I go up, it moves up the piano. But there's only one chord that's playing, and that's the chord that is selected. If this dice is on, it's going to randomly pick a note. No matter what I press on the piano, it's going to randomly pick a note when it's on. Okay, so you're asking it, you click it, press a note, and it switches. And you see how it's just switching different ones depending on where I press. Okay, so down here, you'll see these arrows that can move around for different chords. You have major, you have minor, you have dominant, you have diminished. And each one of these chords, symbols here, represent a chord, a type of chord, or a variant, I'd say, of the chord. Like it could be a 13th or 11th or a minor 7th, and there's so many different variations. So if you set this to randomly do stuff, it will randomize in here too. So now it's randomly picking a note and randomly picking a chord. You'll see it switching. So the way I use it, and these colors are important because what color you're set to is whatever color is gonna, this box is gonna populate to. I'm gonna show you. So this color here is now hitting on my keyboard. It's actually playing on a G sharp. Okay. It's not actually a G sharp chord, it's just a trigger. That's all this is a trigger. These colors, you can pick any color you want. That color could be this color here instead. And so that's a part of it. Now you have the other part. You have a close, you have a top third, open, or comping. You can set that to random too. And it's going to pick randomly one of these four options. The inversion is whether you want to do you can do a down inversion of that. Okay, or an up inversion. Inversions just mean that the last note of that chord is just moving either down this way, or the first note is going to move up this way, right? Transpose, you can transpose the chord. Down an octave or up a semitone. So these are semitones, this is an octave. So down an octave. Or let's say you want to move up semitones. That's all it's doing. Okay. But with this random going on, all this is constantly changing in here. So if you don't want it to randomize, you got to turn that off. And you need to go in and select what chord you want. Like if I want this to be a dominant, then I pick one of the dominants. Okay? So Again, the dice mean that. Now these other symbols, it would be nice if the developer updates this and maybe puts what these mean. Because I know if you look at this, you'd be like, what in the world is that? This is major. You can see a big M. If you look closely at it, you can see a little m. That's minor. This is 7. This is a flat 5th. And this is, I don't know what this is, to be honest with you. So I know it's confusing because it's a little confusing in general. This is if you don't want it to randomize at all, then you pick this one. But if you want it to randomize, then you pick this one. So if I'm building chord progressions over here, I'm not going to use this random tool as much. I might use it to get inspiration out the gate, but I don't want it to randomize every time I touch it. That's crazy. I'm not going to know what the chords are. So what I would say do is you pick something that you want. Maybe you don't want this one to randomize, but you don't mind this one. And you say, oh, okay, I like that chord. So then press that, and now it's that chord. But if you keep the random comping on, or this is going to do randomize. So you have to take that off, take this off, select the chord. I'm going to pick this. I'm going to pick, let's do a minor 7/9. Okay. And then I want it to be that color. Now you see it's still playing the same chord. So turn off that if you want to do that. Then when you pick another space, each space you pick, you can change all the same settings. So you could have it do that. Then let's say you go over here, but you want this one to randomize. Or maybe you know which chord you want. I'm just going to pick something though. Let's say you pick the chord you want. And let's say you don't want everything to arpeggiate out the way it's doing right there. Then you have to turn down the ratio, because the ratio is doing that. See? You just want it to hit the chord. And you can adjust the velocity and the amount of notes it's going to play. But if you want it to play all the notes, then you leave it on select. Or you can pick how many notes you want it to play. You can change the pitch. You could have the group set groups. It's really in-depth program. The hardest part about this one is there's so many little features that you don't know what they are, and you got to figure that out. So this one is how fast it's going to arpeggiate the notes. See how slow that was? And this one is how fast you're strumming the note. Now, if you look over here, the direction is the key. So this means it's playing that way. If you put it on the down, it plays this way. You can see there's a swipe, it kind of tells you that. If you pick this one, it's going to play up and then down. But it could be up 1 minute, down the next minute. So the velocity is going to change, right? This one varies the velocity of the direction that it plays. Look at the velocity too, how it's moving. It's playing down, up, down, up. This is more like random accent notes. You can follow this. This is telling you what it's doing. I don't know what this one does, but it's similar. It's jumping around accent in certain notes, looks like. When it's playing. Same principle here. I don't use this often anymore. When I first got into Ableton, I really liked using something like this. The stack, I didn't even talk about that. Let me talk about that for a second. So you see how all these notes, extra notes over here? You can stack all these extra octaves and stuff on. If you just want the basic chords, just set that to 0. But if you want it to be random, then click on the dice. And what you could do is you could adjust the duration of the sync. So see if you want it to be quick, like a 12. See, it's skipping notes here. This is what skip is, skipping notes. I'm not going to do that. So you can set the velocity of the chord, how it's going to play. That's just the velocity of it. So all these are just different ways to adjust how the notes are played. So I'm going to put this back here. So you might, in one way, come over here and say, okay, I want this one to play down. This one's up, and that one's down. And maybe you pick, I don't know, we'll go B, turn that off. We'll go B, we'll turn this off, and just put minor. Let's do a major 7. The rate. And maybe you don't want it stacked, so you take off that. Right? Transpose it. So I might want to transpose it again. Like, I don't like this stack here on this one. You just want it to play all the way out, that chord. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can remove notes. So yeah, just touch the note you want to remove if you don't like it. You can also make a copy of a preset and then paste it into another if you want this to play the same chord. Right? So you have a lot of control in Chordimist that is, in some DAWs you probably would, or not DAWs, in some things like Scalar, where you do have a lot of control over stuff. There's certain things in here that you have that Scalar doesn't have. You also have sustain. So I forgot to talk about that. So let's say you wanted to sustain. You have one shot where just hit it and plays all the way through. If it's on sustain, it'll sustain long as you hold it. And then arpeggiate, arp is arpeggiate. You know what that is. It'll just do that. And this is arpeggiate with sustain. So you probably wouldn't want to use that much, but let's say you don't have a sustain pedal, you're doing this all on the computer, right? Without an actual keyboard where you can sustain it, then maybe you would want a certain chord sustain longer. You could do it that way. But if you just want to one-shot it where you just hit it and it plays all the way through, that's probably what you would use, right? If that's what you want. And you can talk about the duration of the sync. So now you've set this chord. Maybe you want to put it in green. One of them you may want to arpeggiate, or to arpeggiate the notes. The other one you may just want it to play straight through. And then maybe this one, you want to go with the C, and then maybe you want to do this one. So you just pick that one, take the stack off maybe, and then give it a color. Now, one thing that this is doing different than most things is they're not telling you which chord to go to. So this is not good if you're trying to do chord suggestions. What I mean by that is, like with scalar, they will suggest, oh, play this chord next possibly, and it will sound pretty good. This is not that. So don't get this thinking that it's going to suggest a chord to you. It's just randomly playing chords, and you're taking those chords. You say, oh, I like that one. Okay. And then I'm going to make that one this, right? So now once I lock it, every time I play this particular one here on the keyboard, you see it's going to play exactly the way I set it. When I play this one, it's going to play exactly the way I set it. And the same thing here. So now if I'm going to use it in a song, I'm just going to use these three because I'm not going to sit here and do a bunch of chords. This does require more effort in making chords, whereas with like a scalar 2, it's going to be a lot quicker. Okay, so this is more like you kind of know what you want, but you have a good ear too, and you want to see what you can play that sounds good together. So let's say I make a track. I'm just going to do this real quick. Make a track about 70 BPM. We'll hit the record, and I'll record in just these three chords in a pattern. Okay, there you go. And then I'll just show it to you. Now, if you use this, you'll notice that let me close it down for a second here, only plays the single note. This is part of the reason why I don't use it personally. I like it for what it can do, but because I want to see the actual chords, I think to do it, you would have to set up a MIDI track. Let me see if I can do this. Put it on a MIDI track, okay? And then I do like the N here, okay? And then you would have to go to here, and it's gonna be called, let's rename this so we don't get confused here, because it's easy to get confused. Chordimist, okay? So let's say you set it up kind of like I have a scalar track set up here, Chordimist, and it's just set to N, and it's going to play into this one. Now, I don't know how it works, but we're going to try it because I'm just doing this live. I've never done this, and I don't use Chordimist very much anymore. So I'm going to record just here and see if it records the parts. And it does. Okay, so it's like scalar in that essence then, which is good because I was thinking it didn't do this. Let me delete that front end. Command J. All right, consolidate it. I think I did that right. Yeah. Sorry guys, I actually did something stupid there. I hit my own. Oops. Okay, there we go. Hit it for myself by hitting Command H on the keyboard. It'll hide it from you. Just something I'll never use, but whatever. I don't think. There you go. So it does work. And it will play the chords. That's good. And you can see they arpeggiated the chords. So that's a really good thing with Chordimist if you want to do it. The first way I did it was cool, but yeah, you definitely want it to play your chords where you see them. That's kind of a must in my opinion. And there you have it. It does it. So you could set it up on a track, press record, just start playing chords however you want, right, randomly. And whatever chords you like, just keep them. And then, hold on a second, because I know what it's doing. I'm going to have to, undo that. Shorten this a little bit. Command U, okay, cool. All I'm doing is doing that so that it can play on the 1. All right, so. And to loop this, probably want to shorten these back end chords just a little bit. There you go. So that way it'll play. All right. And then Command J and Command L will loop that for you. There you go. Hopefully this helps for anybody that's wanting to know how to use it. He does have a little book, I think, that you can get now when you buy it from his new website. He gives you like a little manual with it that you can do. I bought it a while ago, so I don't have the manual. I'll probably have to email him and ask him for it, which will probably help. There is pitch bends in here too. And again, if you want to copy a chord, so you can hit copy, right? I'm on the chord, and you see it made another copy right here. So if you hit copy, it's going to send it to the next block. And the way the blocks work is kind of like if you've ever used Ableton's drum rack, they go up from the bottom all the way up. So like your C, whatever, O is going to be down here, and so on and so forth. It goes all the way up. So it's pretty much like that. You can do stack chords where we'll add, more to the chord to make it embellished, which sounds cool. But if that's not your bag, that's totally understandable. So if I'm on a chord and I hit copy, you see it's going to copy to this one, so the next one in line. I wish it would copy and let you just put it where you want it, because now it just ruined the chord I had here, and I can't undo. You can't create presets for whatever. I don't know why I would do that, but I'm just saying. The one thing I don't like is I can't go back and get that chord that I just messed up, and I don't remember what it was. So I won't be looking for it. I'm just letting you know that that's a part of it. So anyway, all right, pitching, groups, intervals, different things like that, if you need all that. But that's probably the way I would use it if I had this. If I have it, I do have it. If I were using this still, I would be a person who would sit and just go through each block and make a new chord. And I would use my ears more for this versus like with Scalar, I do use my ears, but because they suggest chords to you, it's so much easier. And I don't have to, and you can, this is cool that they made this. So if you can't see something, by the way, just press this little button here and it will enlarge this for you. That's probably what I should have did when I recorded this, so you would be able to see it better. But you can see the different little symbols that are on there, like a flat 5, a 7. So you could pick a minor 9, let's say here. Okay, so let's pick a C minor 9, and we're going to put the flat 7 on it. So what that's saying is that it's going to pick a dominant. It's going to pick a dominant chord, right? Dominant chords are a 7th chord. They can be added. There can be other extensions added onto them, but they're generally like a 7th chord. Okay. If you do a diminished, it's going to be a minor 7th chord with a flat 5. So when you look at this first part up here, this will help you know it, right? So here's the first one. See how it's just a 7, and then everything after that is extensions. Here's a minor, everything else is extensions. Here's what a major looks like. They use the symbol. Everything after that is an extension of the major. Okay, that's how you figure out what these mean. And you can move through them this way, or you can just select it. That's the easier way, okay? And then that's what this means. So if you do a flat 5, it's gonna do a flat 5. It's a minor 7 flat 5. So this will only select from this column. This will only select from this column. This will only select from that column. This will only select from that column. And this is saying none of them, that you're just going to pick whatever you want. And this is saying randomize whatever. Just give me some random selection. And then this one is the diminished chords. So they're just giving you only a diminished chord if you just see this circle. Okay. So it's just basically a way to help you quickly pick one of these. If you say, oh yeah, I know I want a minor, select minor, and then randomize the minor to get a various extension of it. Same thing with major, right? Or nothing, and then it's just gonna stay where you place it. Okay, so that makes it. Hopefully that makes sense. If you got any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer it for you. And I know nobody wants to sit and read a book these days, unfortunately. That's why we got YouTube. Everybody wants to just find out. So I'll do my best to help you with that. All right. Well, that's it for this video. I didn't want to spend too much more time on it. But Loptimist, I think, is the guy, or his company. And he has a Gumroad, or he used to have a Gumroad. Now he has a new location where you can buy it. You just have to look him up. Just look up Chordimist and you'll find it. And yeah, that's it for this video.